pressure to develop a vaccine for the coronavirus is high, with 9 major pharmaceutical companies in competition to produce the first. But one of them, AstraZeneca, is facing a setback. One of their trial participants has fallen ill.
It could be one of two things, either the category of an event that this participant already had some underlying non-related medical condition, or what we call serious side effect, an SSE. And that's what AstraZeneca and the Oxford University will be exploring.
AstraZeneca had been carrying out randomized controlled trials on around 30,000 people in the US, the UK, Brazil and South Africa. For the vaccine developers, any bad side effects, even if they only affect 1 in 30,000, are cause for concern. AstraZeneca said in a statement, "We voluntarily paused vaccination to allow review of safety data by an independent committee. This is routine action which has to happen whenever there's a potentially unexplained illness in one of the trials. The pause is likely to delay rollout of the vaccine, even if it's proven safe."
Well, obviously, I'd rather this went completely smoothly. However, we're absolutely clear that safety comes first with the vaccine. So there's been a pause while they investigate an incident. And this has happened before, and then the pause has been lifted. But it just shows how much of an emphasis we put on the safety of the vaccine, even though, of course, we're all desperate to see it work.
US officials were reportedly considering fast-tracking approval to beat the November presidential election. And last month, the European Union signed a contract with AstraZeneca to supply it to all 27 member states. On Tuesday, major vaccine developers, including Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline, pledged that safety would remain a priority at every stage of development. For AstraZeneca, the worst-case scenario will see it abandoning its current vaccine and starting all over again. Shamim Chowdhury, TRT World.
For more, let's go to Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding in Washington. He's an epidemiologist and health economist and senior fellow at the Federation of American Scientists. Good to have you on the program with us, Doctor. AstraZeneca described this as a routine pause in the case. So can you explain to us what may have happened here and what this pause means for this trial?
Right. They still haven't disclosed exactly what it was, but we think it was a serious event of some sort. But serious events, it's sometimes in trials, there's coin flips in which there could be a natural serious event because of an underlying condition or a death, but it would have happened anyways. And the question is one N equals one person, because it was one person, enough to say that it was due to the vaccine? I'm not sure. It could just be a bad coin flip. What you really need is to this is why you need a large enough trial and long enough people to see, well, is this truly a pattern, or is this a simple fluke because this person would have had it anyways and it was just bad luck?
Mm-hmm. So how will the decision on whether or not to restart the trial be made?
Well, the decision, they're going to look at the underlying risk factor and probably look at the dosing and if it was potentially related to the event per se. And probably they're going to halt this person's participation, but they'll follow them up. And they're doing follow-up, by the way, for 2 years. So I'm pretty sure they will resume, but they're going to probably look deeper. Did anyone else have this similar underlying thing? And if they did not, then they'll probably resume. Because you really need a large number of people to tease out if it was just a bad luck coin flip, or if it was truly something related to it. Mm-hmm. And this is why we do phase 3. This is why we do not rush to an EUA by the end of October, despite what Trump wants.
Yes, certainly, and we know that there is a global push for an early rollout of a coronavirus vaccine. So will this likely affect that at all?
Yeah, I think right now this pushback, as you've also heard, there is a pledge by 9 pharmaceutical companies to say, we will not push for the rollout until all the evidence is in that supports efficacy and safety. But right now, the push previously is that the FDA could be politically influenced to issue an emergency use authorization, an EUA. But I think the fact that we have such an adverse event that could, if they ascribe it to the vaccine, could definitely delay the rollout. And again, in the end, what we want to fight against is vaccine hesitancy ultimately when we have the vaccine. And I think we don't want to win the battle but lose the war, right? And I think that's ultimately our goal.
You mentioned the Food and Drug Administration there, and the FDA has suggested coronavirus vaccines may be approved before completing a third phase of clinical trials. Should that be a cause for concern?
Yeah, I think that is a cause for concern because it's not the same thing as EUA for, say, masks or EUA for convalescent plasma, which have been around for and tested for a while. But an EUA for a vaccine is very different, and we should not do it. And there's a reason, again, we do a phase 3 to show that it truly works with sufficiently high magnitude, which is really critical of a vaccine because you're giving it to millions of healthy people, and that the effects are the side effects are low enough and negligible enough. But to do that, you need to do it with sufficient numbers of people for a long enough time to be able to tease out, was something due to a bad luck coin flip, or was it actually a pattern? And that is why we don't want to rush to an EUA right before November 3rd election here in the US, which would actually cause much more consternation and concern that was political and actually hurt the vaccine use down the road.
Okay, and we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding in Washington.